Hi, Green Room. I have a story for you. It's called How Full is Your Bucket? And it's written by Tom Rath and Mary Reckmeyer. And it's illustrated by Maury J. Manning. How full is your bucket? Oh, look at all those buckets. You can see some of them are kind of empty. Some of them are half full and some of them are really full. How full is your bucket? Felix was putting one of his last blocks on his tower when his little sister came in. "I want to build with you," she said. Felix scowled. "Go away, you're too little." Oh, hi, Doc. Are you going to help me? Okay, we got to turn the page. Thank you. "I'm big. Stay back. You'll knock it over." "I can be very careful. Go play with your baby toys, Anna." How does it look like? How do you think she's feeling? She has a picture here. It says Felix. She's thinking. She might be a little angry at Felix. Thwack! Oh no. "Grandpa!" Grandpa shook his head. "Felix, you just dipped from your sister's bucket." Like everyone else, Anna has an invisible bucket. When it's empty, she feels bad, but when it's full, she feels great. Didn't you ever notice your own bucket? Invisible bucket? Sometimes Felix couldn't quite tell when his grandfather was joking. But the next morning when Felix woke up, there it was, a small gray bucket floating above his head. Look at that. When Felix came down to have breakfast, his mom was in a hurry. "I've got a meeting this morning and it's almost time to go. Anna, sit still." Looks like she's trying to help get Anna ready. And Felix is getting his cereal. Felix slipped and choco wheat scattered across the floor. "Felix," yelled his mom, "you should have used the stool to reach that." Felix could feel his bucket tip, and big invisible drips spilled out. Drip, drip. "Ha ha," Anna laughed as she crunched the cereal with her shoe. Drip. "Get the broom and clean that up before you miss the bus," scolded Mom. With the school bus honking, Felix quickly swept up the cocoa wheats and grabbed the last blueberry muffin. But before he could even take one bite, Buster jumped up and grabbed the muffin from his hand. Drip. "Hey, look at Felix's new backpack. My baby brother has one just like it." Drip. You can see his bucket is falling. It's tipping. Drip. "Watch out, shrimp." Drip. Looks like a lot of people aren't being nice. And what's happening to Felix's bucket? There's not a lot of water in it anymore. It was still morning, and Felix's bucket was almost empty. How does he look when his bucket's empty? Looks kind of angry, maybe sad. As he watched his classmates walk into the room, he secretly hoped they would trip and fall. That's what it feels like when you have an empty bucket. You might feel really angry. Felix slumped into his seat and waited for something else bad to happen. Mrs. Bumpernickel walked slowly up to his desk and handed him a paper. He could hardly bear to look at it. She said, "Felix, you wrote a wonderful story. Would you please share it with the class?" Felix grinned and felt his big a big drop land right in his bucket. So now the water's going in. Good things are happening, so it's filling his bucket. Drop, plop, plink, drop. And he's reading his story. The Gigantosaurus who wanted a pet by me, Felix. The class grew quiet. They laughed at all the right places and oohed at the scary parts. When Felix finally read the end, everyone clapped. Even Emily, who sat next to him and didn't usually like dinosaurs. Felix felt a whole shower of drops land in his bucket. Maybe the day wouldn't be bad after all. Drop. He's reading a note from his mom that was in his lunchbox. Team captains today are Veronica and Felix. Drop. More water's going in. Nice cow. Well, it's a dog. Well, nice colors there, Felix. More water going into his bucket. Cool laser ant backpack, Felix. Look how full his bucket is. Do you remember how empty it was on a page before? By afternoon, Felix's bucket was nearly full. At recess, when he looked around, Felix suddenly realized his grandpa was right. Everyone else had a bucket too. Let me help you. So he's helping someone who dropped all of his papers, and it's filling both of their buckets. It's making both of them happy. Here's your baseball. Catch. Thanks, dude. Drop, drop. Hi, I'm Felix. Is it your first day? Yes, I'm Amir. Drop, drop. The strange thing was that for every drop he helped put in someone else's bucket, he felt another drop into his own bucket. Why do you think that is? Seems like helping other people is making Felix feel good too. When Felix burst in the door after school, he shouted, "You were right, Grandpa. I do have a bucket, and I understand how it works." Then he saw Anna's torn doll. "Bad dog," he almost scolded. But then he thought, maybe dogs have invisible buckets too. "Your doll will be okay, Anna," said Felix. "Mom will fix her." Oh, look, her bucket's empty. She must be feeling really sad. Then Felix said, "Until then, do you want me to help, or do you want to help me build the tallest building in the world with my blocks?" And so they did. So look on this page. Her bucket is really empty. But then when he's being nice to her, both of their buckets are getting more drops. So do you really think that throughout the book all these people had all these buckets over their heads? No, I think that they're just pretending. He's just pretending that he can see the buckets. But sometimes you can see someone's bucket based on how they're feeling. So if they're really sad, like this person's looking sad, you can imagine or pretend that there's an empty bucket above his head. But you see these people smiling. They have full buckets. They're feeling happy. So what's something that you can do to help fill up someone else's bucket? What could you do to make someone feel better today? Bye, Greener.